What is a downside of being the smart kid not many people realize? The pressure to be perfect, but later in life a lack of motivation. Burnout. Because you expect to thrive at everything you do, you never develop the skills to actually develop skills you are not inherently good at. You get frustrated when you don't immediately understand something or do something right because you have always been the one to understand before everyone else. The imposter syndrome that comes with it as you get older. The lack of self-appreciation because you're the smart kid, and any other talents get pushed aside. The crippling anxiety you get when you score low, at least to you, in exams in college because you're smart and clearly something is wrong with you if you're struggling now. And people are so quick to jump on you if you struggle in some courses because you're smart and this should be easy. So they don't provide extra help, and claim it's because you aren't trying hard enough, which compounds your anxiety/depression and increases your negative thoughts about yourself. This could just be the result of poor parenting, but these have hit me so damn hard as I grew up. I'm 30 now and I still struggle because I have had my intelligence touted my whole damn life. Neurological conditions like ADHD and or ASD aren't noticed and you gaslight yourself into thinking you're lazy or worse, even though you have massive anxiety about being lazy or a bad person, something actually lazy people don't have. Edit for clarity. If you feel like you are horribly lazy and you hate it and always end up doing things at the last minute in a fit of anxiety, get checked out for ADHD. If you feel like you're a terrible person because you don't relate to other people, feel like an alien in the world, and don't feel like you get sad enough when people pass away or even tell you their problems, get checked out for ASD. And lots of people have both, there is a ton of overlap. When school is easy, you don't learn to work hard, which is a big part of school. At the end of the day, it's not the smartest kid that gets the college degree and the good job, it's the one with more drive. People always expect you to be better at everything, or know everything. You will have friends who actually use you. Living up to early expectations placed on you. That you're actually not as smart as teachers and parents make you think. Perfectionism. Perfectionism, procrastination, and the big sad. From personal experience, I was always regarded as the golden child or the girl genius. I ruined my sleep schedule because of all the extra work and studying I would do. I had several panic attacks because of school. And at the age of 13 I had a mental breakdown because of an existential crisis where I realized nothing I did would ever matter. And to top it all off, I have crippling fear of failing. Everyone asks, how'd the smart kid do, but never, how's the smart kid doing? Adults will encourage you, and very specifically not your less gifted peers, to engage in critical thinking, to question. And then when you get older, absolutely no one will ever want you to do that. I think this is part of why a lot of smart kids end up with anxiety and depression, especially as adults. You notice earlier than your peers just how messed up the world is but still have to live in it. Sometimes you don't get allowed to be a, kid. The expectation to be smart at all times, and when the time comes that you fail, you just feel so much like a disappointment. Anxiety. If you're naturally smart, you have a tendency to think of every possible outcome in any given situation. Of every possible outcome, at least a few of them are scary. The scary ones tend to be more noteworthy than the mundane ones, and thus, you fixate on that. Smart people are often somewhat neurotic. People don't realize you're struggling in other areas in life. By kid, I'm thinking of a kid in school, so often poor grades are an indication that something bad is going on in the kid's life. If the kid is smart and does well because that's who they are, then it's a lot less likely, in my opinion, that someone else notices something ain't right. Thing about being smart is that you can get by most of your life without having to work hard. When it matters the most, you'd be without that essential skill. Being accused of thinking you're better than everyone else. Being incredibly bored in classes you're good at. Needing to change the vocabulary you're using around your peers to avoid being made fun of or being misunderstood. That soul-crushing panic whenever things start to go wrong in school. Feeling disappointed in adults when they say or do very stupid things. University is a culture shock. I nearly failed the first year. Up to that point I had aced every test and exam by just being shown the premise once. I had never really learned to study. Smart kids will peak earlier and then not know what to do with themselves. Sort of like young athletes, you make it to the top young and then they're left sort of floundering after success. You're expected to do well and achieve exceptional things even when you don't want to. The isolation. Everything being easy has a lot of repercussions in the long run. No study skills, procrastination, weakened drive, and a lot of other bad habits build up. And when you do fail at something, or even encounter a real challenge, it hits a lot harder. I pretty easily breezed through everything until my master's program. Master's level macroeconomics, econometrics, and mathematical economics were really challenging, and I had no idea how to study. I studied as best I could, but it was so stressful I wound up almost in panic mode the nights before exams. I really had no idea if I was even studying properly. It's really easy to wind up with depression, anxiety, and other issues later in life, especially if you're also ADHD. Edit, to add, my friend group in high school was mostly the very smart kids. The one in the group who was just above average has been, by far, the most successful in life. Work ethic and social skills will get you a hell of a lot farther in life than intelligence will. When you look for a job, few people care how smart you are, only what you have accomplished, which will be very little. Can I have the answers? Being disconnected from other kids and adults who can't keep up or understand. You realize people with weird logics. And then you realize being smart actually doesn't matter as much as being high up in ranks. They can just force their weird logic on you and you don't have a say in anything. You either break or get exhausted by the expectations from others. The break is similar to a burnout but a lot more destructive and without any recovery. The exhaustion is when you gradually get worse until no one expects something from you while constantly being insufficiently challenged and dying inside from day to day. At some point you will be a doomer. When I finished my work before everyone else, the teacher would make me help other kids in my class with their work. Being smart feels great, especially since you get tons of compliments for it. Unfortunately, this means you become somewhat reliant on it as a trait. When you are placed among other similarly smart people, you must maintain your status as the best or at least be in the ballpark. This means that you end up doing a whole lot of work you don't really want to do, although it feels worth it when you prove yourself to once again be better than your peers. Sure, you could just accept that there is always someone who is going to be better, but then you fade into mediocrity and miss out on a lot of the attention you previously got. In life, there will always be someone smarter. Oh, boy. I have so much to say about this. The biggest downside, growing up, is how much pressure everyone puts on you. Teachers, parents, and everyone else with so many expectations. Sometimes, people take your words so seriously and look to you for advice about things, and when you don't know the answer to something, the disappointment is very palpable. You remember so much insignificant stuff that people get offended when you forget something about them. The biggest disadvantage, however, is how you become completely dependent on your cognitive skills to function in life. I took a high dose of moxifloxacin 3 days ago, and it gave me extreme brain fog. It was taking me half an hour to read 5 pages, when I can easily read a book in a day. The fog has cleared up a little today, but the past couple of days were hellish. I realized how much I rely on my memory for everything, and how difficult life was without it. I had to set alarms and reminders for meetings. I had to take notes for lectures. I had to read things twice or thrice to comprehend them. I have a completely new appreciation for people who have memory and attention problems now. The constant expectations everyone places on you, to the point of anxiety at the prospect of letting anyone down in any aspect of your life. No one takes the time to realize you may not be okay, might not have things together, there are issues you need help with, or that there are things you are missing out on being educated on. My own family seemed to figure that because I was a smart kid who experimented with and figured things out quickly, understood most topics and the logic behind them, etc., that I would be fine in life and did not need to be directly educated about the finer points of being a human being within a society. As a result, most of my time since exiting the family home has been spent learning all the finer points in life and how to be a human people see and recognize as one of them instead of someone that alarms or concerns people. I blend in way better now and am able to be comfortable around people since I don't make them so immediately distressed with my presence. On the opposite side of not having to work hard is me. I got noticed as smart very young, and I had tons of challenging opportunities placed in front of me. Extracurriculars, higher level classes. I found out that if I had taken one more AP class I would have been forced to enter college as a sophomore because I had so much college credit. And then in college I had challenging classes and personal attention from professors. I loved it and loved expanding my brain. And then I graduated and no one was putting the challenges in front of me anymore. And I didn't know what to do to challenge myself. I didn't know what I was passionate about. I didn't know what to do next. I found I had zero drive to do anything. Now, when life tosses me one way or another, I can rise to the occasion. But I feel really out of control as to my own direction. You mean more than being bullied from the less bright ones? When I look at society I realize that we could find new solutions to old problems by cooperating and educating ourselves. But it's mostly sabotaged by emotionally maladjusted individuals. The fall from grace. You can't make mistakes because you're the smart one. If a stupid kid says something stupid, that's normal. People will chuckle and move on. If the smart kid gets a question wrong or says something stupid, that's an event because they're smart. How could they do something stupid? It'll get brought up in all kinds of situations from people seeing behind the curtain. See, I knew you weren't as smart as everyone says you are, to dismissing any other ideas you might have. XYZ idea was stupid. Why would ABC be any better? Did you even think last time? How can we trust you now? It's exhausting. Everything is usually on easy mode, so whenever something is hard, you have a tougher time not giving up, since you aren't used to challenges. Of course, this does not apply to smart kids that works their asses off to get the results they have. I'm talking about the smart kid who does nothing and gets perfect grades. They're so used to everything being easy, the day it gets tough, they won't know what to do. It's very easy to fall into the identity of being the smart person, especially in high school where everyone tries to put themselves in a box. Problem is, there's always someone smarter out there, and when you run into them and realize it, it can cause quite a bit of identity crisis. That if you're slightly above average and they stick you in advanced classes, you're just setting yourself up to fail. I skipped Algebra and Science 1 and went straight to Chemistry and Geometry and it really fucked up my HS career, especially Chemistry.